Very good morning to everybody who have joined us this morning for the webinar that Cybian is hosting. My name is John Wee. I'm from Cybian. So the topic for today's webinar is generative AI, the next growth area for ITSM. Thank you once again for joining us for this webinar. I want to let you know that this webinar will be recorded and we will edit and publish it on our official YouTube channel should you want to revisit or have a look at the video recording again. Okay, right. Just to let everybody know, there is a Q&A button at the top of your Microsoft Teams so-called panel. If you have any questions during the course of the presentation or the webinar, do post it there so that we can actually assist to answer them for you in that sense, right? We are still having a few more participants trickling in. Again, good morning to everyone. Right, let's get started then for the webinar for today in that sense. Right, so a quick introduction of us. So we are from Cybian. So we are actually a company that actually founded headquarters in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So we are focusing on areas of automation and big data practices in that sense. So today we are very fortunate. We will be bringing you the webinar topic of generative AI, the next growth area in ITSM, together with our principal from SymphonyAI in that sense. Allow me to quickly just showcase the topic. So we will go through some of these topics in detail. We will have what we call a quick demonstration on the products that will actually showcase what are the capabilities of generative AI that we are talking about. And hopefully that will give you an idea in that sense. Okay. Right, so a quick introduction again. So allow me to introduce myself again. My name is John Wee. I'm from Cybian, and I have my partner from the principal here, Mr. Mahu, actually from SymphonyAI. Hi, Mahu, how are you doing today? Sorry,
Hey,
Mahu,
John.
I think you are mute.
Hey, everyone. Hey, hi, John. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good as well.
Yep, I think it's a beautiful day today. Luckily, we don't have a raining Kuala Lumpur this morning. Yeah, usually that'll be in the evening. Yeah, so again, thank you for joining us today to take us on this topic. So maybe I'll quickly do the context setting for all our participants who have actually joined us for what we call today's webinar. Right, so let's really talk about the what we call what is generative AI and what is ITSM. So if you look at the definition from ITIL, it says that ITSM actually stands for IT Service Management. Now, it is actually the activities performed by an organization when we design, build, and actually deliver operations and control from the IT service perspective. Now, this is something that has been well established in the industry. The current standard is version 4. So those of you who are not familiar, do reach out. We will be able to help you. This is actually one of our key focus area that Cybian does by helping companies and individuals get introduced to the ITIL4 perspectives in terms of the framework itself. Now, according to Wikipedia, this Gen AI or generative AI, right, is being thrown around quite a fair bit. So I decided to pick on this. So it says that generative AI or artificial intelligence, basically that's what we're trying to talk about today. It's the capability of generating text, images, videos, and so forth, right? So we've seen quite a lot of that since the launch of ChatGPT. I think talking about 18 months ago, there has been an explosion of discussion on that, right? Even like Microsoft has gotten into the act. Yesterday, I think we were very fortunate to have the Microsoft's CEO visiting Malaysia, announcing certain investments and whatnot. And he also spoke about the Copilot as their product of choice for organizations to get involved and to really take advantage of that. So there you have it. That's a quick definition of that. Now that we've understand the definition of ITSM and generative AI, so there must be something that's going on, right? So we would like to actually share this slide with you. So as everybody know, Gartner came out with this just end of last year or early this year, they talk about this impact radar. So when they look at generative AI, it seems to be very, very broad, as you can see from the slide. It is actually impacting a lot of different areas. This is actually something that everybody is getting very excited and concerned at the same time to say that, hey, where is the coverage? Where is the impact? So if you look at the slides, there are application-related focus area, model-related, or even model performance and AI safety, build and data related as well. So it requires a lot of stuff for us to look at. So if you look at that, they will tell you which are the ones that are very high probability that will be coming into or impacting us as the digital workers very soon, right? So this is actually a very, very good reference site for us to look at to frame it into context. Now, moving forward, if you look at IDC, IDC also talks about the spend on AI. A lot of company now, if you talk to a lot of the CIOs out there, they are actually requesting for budget and say, hey, board, I would like to have some budget, so-called allocated for us to invest in our organization, in the adoption, in what we call the so-called implementation of the certain use case on how we can take advantage of AI. So if you look at this slide, the spend that is forecasted by IDC, it's going to increase, right? So if you look at 2024, it's under 20%, all the way to 2026, that's going to be above 26% or 28% kind of thing. That's a lot of our IT budget. I would say at least a quarter of it, and it's going to be allocated and invested and implemented and spent on AI adoption itself. Now, when we talk about all this money, right, it's also quite curious to see where are we spending it. So if you look at this other slide from IDC, they're saying that a lot of the stuff are spent on augmented customer service agent, how we serve our customer from an IT service perspective. It's going to be a key area. Now, sales process, that's also something that organizations are looking at. How do we upsell? How do we improve the experience from the sales process? Or even smart business innovation, which we will showcase later by Mahu, how this can be done. Or IT optimization. So a lot of time, as we know, right, when we talk about IT optimization, we're looking at doing more with less. We're trying to really squeeze out every single dollars and cents from how we optimize and run operation excellence. That's something that we look at. Now, fraud analysis and investigation, this is more of the cybersecurity subdomain, whereby people are saying that, hang on, this is also something that we want to be of concern, especially the financial services industry, right? So they want to be a little bit proactive to look at that and all that. So if you look at this span, there are already use cases that are in place. And hopefully, Mahu, you can actually take us through some of those details, right? How can this be impacted? So that is the context that we're looking at how AI has really, really been, so-called exploded onto the scene in the last 18 months. And everybody is like driving crazy investment and spending, right? And we have all these different use cases that we have developed. Right, so hopefully we'll set the context. So what I'm going to do now in the next section, I'm going to pass it to you, Mahu, to talk a little bit more on what SymphonyAI has to offer in that sense. Mahu, over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, John. Let me share my screen and take it forward from here. So good morning, everyone. As the initial context setting has been done by John on the market trend, how we are, seeing the ChatGPT as a consumer as well. So everyone is curious how we can utilize that in the enterprise grade environment. And that is where we have, set up this webinar to give some glimpses on how it is going to make the life easier and in the enterprises, in the organizations for the respective personas, from the end user persona standpoint, from the executives, from the people who are just trying to get some reports out of it. So how all this is going to help is what we are going to check. Now, why we need GenAI in the enterprise, right? So some key pointers, some key reasons is what we have highlighted here, that it will need the enhanced creativity and innovation, right? So basically, whatever we are, we are trying to enhance the user experience, right? At the same time, we are trying to give some better creativity and innovation in our respective organizations. So how we can do that better with the Gen AI is where we will be showcasing how it will be enhancing those areas, how we want to uh, offload whatever repetitive tasks your team is doing today, right? And with the help of the Gen AI and the automation technologies put together, how we can automate your routine tasks. So your engineers, your team members who are, doing the job in a repetitive manner can be all offloaded and can be handed over to the system so they can do something more productive in their day-to-day operations. And these tasks which can be automated will be all handled to increase the overall productivity and the faster responses and turnover times for the respective users in terms of providing the resolutions, in terms of executing tasks, and the quick response that they will be expecting. Then there will be definitely an improved decision making with data analytics. So as a executive, I will be able to get some reports, some insights using this technology, GNI, in my enterprise, using which I will be having some data in hand to take informed decisions in my environment. Right now, there are multiple trends, multiple use cases which we are going to touch today to give you some examples. So you have some glimpses on how we can take informed decisions using this technology and why we need this in the enterprise. And definitely it is because we are offloading a lot of manual tasks, we are leveraging the GenAI tech, and that is going to give you a risk mitigation and problem solving environment. So you can quickly solve your problems with the help of automations you're doing, avoid risks because we are automating things. So manual human error is going to reduce. And also at the same time, it is going to be a personalized experience. So based on the conversations the users of different personas are doing with the digital agents, with the Gen AI based co-pilots, it's going to uh, eventually, after learning the intention and other way of framing sentences, the utterances which are coming in from the user, it's going to be more personalized at certain scale, right? So these are some key 5 reasons what we have listed here, that why we need Gen AI in enterprise, in all the enterprises, right? Now moving on to the next slide, what SymphonyAI has to offer in terms of those technologies that we are referring, right? Now, if you refer to this, this is basically a overall a capability that we have put in here in single slide. So it's easier for you to understand different angles, different aspects, and for the different solutions that we will be getting in the respective domains. Now, this platform is a no-code, low-code platform. So it's whatever experiences we are giving to the user, to the service, to the administration, they are all going to get a codeless experience. So the platform is designed in such a manner that your team members are able to do the modifications without any codings. It's all GUI based that they will be doing. And if they have to do any changes, so whatever changes has to be done in terms of the workflows, aligning to your business requirements, you want to add new custom forms, new fields, you don't have to do any codings. It's all drag and drop function in the front end that has been given to the respective areas. Now, some experiences from the service side includes the tools like Form Designer, which has 50 plus controllers in it, and it is going to give you all the control on the different pages, different layouts that you want to set in your system. You want to design different portals. You can put different fields to capture the data that you need to meet your business requirements. That is where this form designer is going to help you. Workflow designer, now though this is ITIL certified on 12 processes, so all the standard workflows and the process flows that you get will be aligned to ITIL standards. But at the same time, to give you a flexibility, you will be having access to the workflow designer, which will allow your admins to do the changes at the workflow and the process level. So you want to create a new workflow altogether, or there's something already running, a process flow, and down the line after 6 months, your management decides to change that flow to do some modifications aligning to the business requirements coming in. Your system admins will be able to do that with a click of button, and hardly it will take 5 minutes to do the changes in the workflows that we need, do the testing, validate it, and good to go. So that gives you a faster response time from the system admins as well, that they don't have to spend a lot of time to do the changes and the modifications, basically the maintenance and administration on the platform. Right. Similarly, there are other sections which we will be talking about during a demonstration. So we have a product demonstration as well planned for you all. So we give you some glimpses on that. So that is where we will be covering this low code and no code platform. At the same time, organizations with the capability of skill sets and the requirements, they may need some pro coding as well on the platform, which is why we have kept that window open as well. So if there is something to do with the integration, we have to do a REST API integration where we want to connect with the third-party application outside this application. It will be all done using Integration Hub. Your service automation workflow, so you can design different skills, different playbooks you can create, and execute the automation scripts based on the workflows that we design in the system. So you can have multiple things, and I will show you in the product demonstration as we move forward over here. And then we have omni-channel experience, where we have a copilot. It's a digital agent, a copilot, as we all know. It's Gen AI based, and this is where it's going to give a different experience to all the users in different personas, and we will see how it is responding in to the respective different scenarios, use cases, what we have covered today, and other channels and web browsers and collaboration channels, which are different other standard channels available for the users, omni-channel experience, right? So this is where, and with the help of Eureka AI platform, which is the backend of the main core platform, which is the AI-based platform, and that is where the machine learning models, the LLMs, and predictive and contextual intelligence is going to come into picture, which is going to give the experience not only to the user but also to the help desk engineers who are working on the help desk. If they quickly want to see a summary of something, they can do that, or it will be helpful in your service automation as well. And we will show you how easy it is to utilize and leverage that technology in those areas, right? So that is, and this is completely SaaS based, so we don't have to worry about the hostings and the maintenance of the infra. So everything will be taken care of at the SaaS layer by the company, and you will be getting the web application access to go ahead and do the configurations as per requirement. Right, so that's where we close the section 2 on why we need GenAI and what is the overall capability that Symphony is bringing with respect to those technologies and the overall platform capability that we have. Now we will move forward and we'll talk about the Copilot and service automations. So Copilot is something which we have already discussed in the previous slide, wherein it is based on the Gen AI technology. And we were one of the 50 companies chosen by Microsoft to collaborate and develop this enterprise-grade Copilot, which is going to be used in the enterprises specific to those respective industries that need to utilize the AI technology in their environment as per their processes and other things. And with the help of automation, how we can provide a better user experience and a faster resolution, right? So basically, what we have already covered is we have mentioned in the slide here that it is going to give you an automation with the respective repetitive tasks, interconnect with multiple applications, and maintain the data, which is in terms of the integrations that we do, enhance the customer services with increased efficiency, and reduce the manpower and lower expenses, right? So that's where the combination of these technologies is coming into picture. Now, let's go ahead and look at some demos sessions, and I'm going to show you some glimpses on how The user personas are going to work on it, do the conversations, and get the results and get the responses from Copilot based on their requirements. Okay, I'll take a pause here. Just give me a minute and I'll switch to a demo screen. Okay, over to you, John, for a short.
Sure. So what we have actually seen just now, what Mahu has explained is actually the SymphonyAI platform, which actually has already bundled and built into the so-called AI component. So later on, we're going to do some use case where we're going to get Mahu to demonstrate on the Copilot how that will actually help for you when you do text to code or even this Confluence or executive reporting. These are the three use cases that we want to showcase today to all of you here. So if you were to take on the SymphonyAI platform, and these are the capability that will future-proof your organizations in that sense, specifically from an ITSM perspective in that sense. Right, we do have a questions in the chat from Wasim. Just to experience how it works, is there a provision of free trial version of SymphonyAI like the ones provided for other ITSM tools in the market? Mahu, would you like to take that question? I think Wasim is interested in a free trial to give it a go.
Yes, definitely. We do have sandboxes available. However, we would like to separately connect and understand the overall requirements so we can, take care of those requirements you have, and then accordingly, provision the sandbox for your team to do the hands-on.
Yep. So what I would suggest, Wasim, I'm going to type my email address contacts in the chat for you to quickly perhaps drop me a quick email, and I will connect with you and Mahu so that we can actually provision that sandbox for you so that you can actually give it a go. This actually extends to everyone on the so-called webinar today as well. So if you're interested to say, hey, John, I think this sounds exciting enough. I don't mind investing, some time to look at it. Could you provide some sandbox provision of the version of the SymphonyAI for us to experience or at least run through some of the examples that Mahu has actually showcased? Yeah, drop me a quick email. I'll definitely connect you with Mahu and then we will provision that for you. And we can have an offline discussion to see, is there any specific needs that we may need to add on to showcase to you or even help you to experience that, right? Not a problem. So Mahu, I think you're ready to go to the demo itself.
Yes, I have shared my screen again. Hope my browser screen is visible.
Yes, right? It is. So over to you.
So far we have seen the presentation, the slides, how different capabilities are there, what different functions are there. Now we are going to show you in action how those things looks like in the product, in the platform, and how easy it will be for different users to do the configurations on that and utilize this in your respective organizations. Now, starting off with the service automation area. And we will be covering the Copilot as we move on. Now, this is a dashboard for all these service automations. Okay, so this is something, it's a configurable, all the dashboards, all the layouts are configurable in the system. And this is something you can design. And this is one of the out-of-box dashboards that you get, in which you can see what all different trends are there with respect to the workflows of your automations that you have configured based on the executions which is happening and how many of them are totally active, inactive, and so on. The total status-wise, chart you want to pull out for all the skill executions. So skill is nothing but all your automation scripts, which is doing something automatically, and we have written a script. It's a skill. Now, these skills can be written in different languages, as you see in the report here. It can be PowerShell, Python, Shell, right? Your execution overview. What are the top 5 workflow executions, top 5 tenants, top 5 categories in which the automation is happening in your environment is what we quickly see in this unified view. Now, coming to the other configurations, for example, there's a skill configuration. I can see the list of all these skills that have been configured. So basically, it has the list of all the automation scripts written in different languages, as we see here on the top, the overview. And here is a list of that. Now, supposing that you have to create something new. So you will be getting the access to create new automation scripts as well on the platform, right? So you'll not be restricted on that. So you can go to new skill, you can come to this screen, and here you can choose your language in which you want to write the skill. Now here it can be written in these different languages: Perl, PowerShell, Python, Shell, VB, right? So let's take an example for Python. And here is the window where you can start writing your script, your skills that you have to automate. Now, using the GenAI technology, we have given an option here. So your teams can save time. So probably instead of writing the entire code from scratch, I can put a statement that write a script to create an Active Directory user. And before creating it, validate if the user similar is already existing or not, and also collect these informations, these parameters: first name, last name, department, location, etc. Right? So this is a simple script that we want to write now. So let me go to a new script. Let me select Python, and let me put a statement and generate. So basis this statement, which I'm giving to the Copilot, it's going to generate the skill for me. It's going to write the complete script. So it's text to code. So this is basically one of the use cases of Copilot, wherein it is called text to code. You can put a text, and based on that text you have given, it is going to generate the code for you, making the lives much more easier for the respective team members who want to write certain codes here to automate something. And here is the complete output that we have got based on the generation done by Copilot. Right, so that's one of the skills. And then you can use other configurations on the right side, like what are the details of this skill, what is the execution time, who is going to execute that, input, output, any parsing criterias we have, right? In the case of success condition, in the case of failure, what are the conditions? And if we have connected or related this with any other workflow. So when we design workflows, we include these skills in those workflows. So we can, once it is attached, we can see what all workflows it is mapped with. So at any point in time, I'm doing some changes here, I will know what all workflows are going to be affected if I do a change in this particular code over here. So that's how you can use the Copilot in your service automation. So service automation itself is giving a very unique experience for the respective user. So there can be, any use cases that you think of, like to improve the overall user experience. Your user is onboarding or they are getting offboarded. So within that, there are multiple processes that we have to do: create an ID, give access to different applications, install software. All those things can be automatically done. So it's a faster employee onboarding. At the time of offboarding, you want to revoke the access or deactivate the accounts, right? Those things will be all done in the offboarding process. Now, someone is requesting a guest Wi-Fi, someone is requesting a VM on created on, or someone is asking some cloud server to be created, probably on your Azure, on AWS. That is all done automatically. If someone is asking a access request to a particular shared folder or the application, that will be automatically provided, and the details will be shared over email. Now, within this entire process, there will be workflows included to provide the right set of approvals, noting that whenever someone is requesting something, it has to be approved by a particular person or set of people. Now, that will be all designed and configured as part of your workflow designing. That's where your service automation comes into picture. Right? So this was one use case where we touched upon the service automation, how we can utilize that, and Copilot, how Copilot is also being utilized on top of your service automation layer. Right? Now we will be moving on to the next use cases here.
Yep. So before we move on, I just want to also add in a point, Mahu, for our audience, right? I think it's also important to highlight that when we actually put into the so-called platform itself, right, it's actually a central repository, as you have rightfully demonstrated, because we can actually generate the code from Copilot, right? Whether it's in Python, it's in C, it's in VB, or whatever language that we prefer individually, right? So it's a central repository. So if you look at it from the governance, risk, and compliance perspective, right, especially when we have teams from internal audit who would like to better appreciate you say, hey, John, what script or what automation do you guys do? It's actually easily auditable, as you've explained, in the sense that we can actually look at what the code are. It's actually in one central repository. It's easy to review. Like you mentioned, there are certain checks and balance approval for the process itself. So it's easy for the internal audit team to actually appreciate what is the work being done. Even from cybersecurity, I believe, right, Mahu? If they were to audit, it's easily understood, right? Because the trail is there and stuff like that. I look at it, that's actually an advantage as compared to other ITSM tools out there. Symphony AI is able to provide. So not just for IT operations folks, also for the internal supporting team, like internal audit or cybersecurity, to come and actually have a look to say, hey, I think this is good. It's a central repository. We know where the things are. We have control. We have actually proper trail. Who did it? What happened? When did it happen? Kind of thing, right? So I just want to add that point there, Mau.
Yes, that's right. Thanks for adding that, John. So all those things will be, able to cater to those all requirements easily.
Yeah. So I think don't just look at it from the IT operating perspective, because we also need to involve the larger organization, like I mentioned, the compliance, the risk, and the governance team, right, to actually make things run smoother and make things run better. Right. Over to you, Mahu. Let's go to the next use case. I think we're looking at Confluence, right, at this point in time.
Yes.
All right.
So here I have logged into one of my another demo instances with Copilot enabled. And here we see the icon for the chat interface. I click on it and I get the chat interface here. Now this is something which I'm showcasing from my web application, but the same thing can be connected with your Microsoft Teams if you're using Teams in your organization, or it can be, there could be other channels as well that we can collaboration channels. Now, for example, Teams, if you're using, you will have this sit on your Teams. So users will see the Copilot icon within their Microsoft Teams, and they need not to come to the web application to do all these interactions. Whatever conversations I'm doing here will be easily done through the Microsoft Teams directly, right? Now here for the demo purpose, I already put one conversation here after starting off my conversation with the Copilot that I would like to know the calculations on my per diem, like a general use case for a user there who is planning to travel to different countries. So I have given two different, locations and different for how many days I'm planning to travel for these two locations. And based on the information which is centrally there in your knowledge management in form of the travel policy, it's going to calculate those things and give me the total per diem calculation based on the policy which my HR has designed against the travel policy. And it's also giving me the source. So I don't have to manually search for the document, read through the entire document, and then do the calculations. I can simply ask something like this, and it will do the calculation and tell me that this is what it is for the total 20 days based on the countries that I have mentioned. It's going to collate that, and after merging that, it's going to give me the totals over here. Right now, if I look at another use case, I would like to understand what are the top three travel guidelines as per the company travel policy. So again, using the details which are there under your documents, which is their part of your knowledge management, it's going to get all those informations, summarize it, and it's going to give me some top three things that I need to note, right? So these are some use cases which we can know what it is and how I'll see what other details are there. Those informations can be all handled here. Now, in the same conversations, I can even go ahead and talk to Copilot against the issues which I'm maybe facing. Probably I'll say I need VPN access, right? There could be some other use case also, like I need something else, I need this software, and I am facing this problem. So based on that, it's going to get the details and tell me what details are required to proceed with that particular case. So when I say I need this access, it's going to search for the respective catalogs which have been configured in the backend. And then based on that, it's going to tell me what informations do we need. And based on that information that has been given, I can go ahead and give all the informations here. Now here, I can either do one by one, I can give all my responses, or probably I can give something in one shot that this is a remark that I'm this, I'm a new joiner, and date and time and date and time is this, right? Duration should be this, VPN should be is access is ongoing, and based on that, it's going to log the request. So I don't have to give one by one all the informations which are mandatory for me to give to request this access. I just gave it in one sentence, right? And it understood that and logged the request on my behalf. So I don't have to go through different pages and then fill the form from the scratch and then log the request. That is where the user experience, what we have been talking about, getting better for the users. So here it's once I give all the things, okay, it's submitted, and here is the request. I can go ahead and track the request as well, or I can do a further tracking by asking more conversations here that let me know the status of this or do this action on this particular SR number or ticket number. Those are different use cases as well that I can handle. Now within this process of requesting an access, now once this SR is logged, if I leverage the automation that we saw a few minutes ago, it is going to provide that access automatically, providing it is all approved. Based following that approval workflow process, it is going to give the access automatically and give me the details over email that these are the access for your VPN, which has been granted for this duration, right? So all those things can be all. So in this entire use case, what we have seen in this VPN access, leveraging these different technologies on the same platform, it's a no manual intervention needed. Everything is done automatically, right? Now let me take some other examples here. Let me just re-log in into another. It got auto logged out. Just give me a minute. Okay, in the meantime, let me search another list for you to show some other use cases within the Copilot. Okay, so here basically I have opened the list of all the incidents from the analyst stand view, wherein they will see what all different tickets or the incidents have been logged previously and what is the current situation. And I have just filtered out the resolved ones from that list to know certain details on that. Now, once I do that and I have the details over here, now either I will have to go one by one in each tab over here to understand what all things have happened on this, what solution was provided and other things, or I have an option to utilize the Copilot technology, wherein I have given an option here to generate a resolution summary, where it is going to understand the complete ticket lifecycle, the different stages it has gone through. And based on that, it is going to generate a summary. So I can, instead of going through all the pages within that ticket, I'll have a summarized version of that particular ticket in my screen. So that's where it gives a better experience to the technicians also to understand things better in a faster manner instead of putting time more into doing things manually and then analyzing the data that we have in hand, right? So that's where the when we talk about the Gen AI tech in the enterprise grade, this is going to change the experience for different users that we are talking about. And then I can copy this entirely to for my other reports, or I can append to the resolution, right? So that is another use case. Let me just log
So
in
I
into
think
it.
that what Maho you've just shown, I think that's going to be very, very handy if I'm going to do a root cause analysis RCA report, right?
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
summarize the whole thing and I can just copy and paste and submit to the RCA team and say, hey, my job is done now.
Correct, correct.
It's
It
so
makes the life
convenient.
much easier for the respective users. And using the same Copilot, I can even generate the, the reports and other things that I have. Like as a executive or as a manager, probably I'll just ask Copilot, tell me the trend. What trend is there based on the data of tickets in last 1 week or 2 weeks or a month, and it's going to do all the calculations based on that data that we have gathered and give me all the details back. Like this is a trend analysis report. Now, the same trend analysis report, if there is an issue, I want to see a report not just in the terms of the texts that has been given as a response. I want to look at it in a chart form. I can ask Copilot that give me the same report in a chart format, and it's going to do the revisions again and give me the details in a chart. So it's a
So
graphical
what
report for me
Yeah,
getting
so what you've
generated from
explained is
Copilot.
actually more on the service level management as well, which is also very handy because if you're going to do this on a monthly basis, typically we spend a lot of time preparing those reports, the charts and all
That's
that.
right. That
But
yeah.
yeah,
And
what you have just
especially I
shown
have
is like,
seen, yeah, especially I have seen, John, in many companies, they have a separate dedicated person or a team, depending on the size of the organization, who are purely there to look at the data, they analyze that, generate reports as per the requirement. So here we can probably use them in some more productive things, and this can be just asked by anyone based on the role-based access, of course. The user that data will be given to the respective user who is asking it. If they're not authorized to see that data or review that report, they won't be given that information through Copilot. That is also going to be taken care of.
because all those questions that you so-called frame, right? Has it happened before? What's the frequency and all that, right? Typically, it's not just from the service level management, even as we engage with the business, right? They will typically
Yes.
question and say, John, could you help me to appreciate, has this happened before? Is there anything we can do better the next time round to minimize the end user impact of this kind of incident, those kind of things, right? So I
Right.
think what you have demonstrated, it's a very, very handy use case whereby we really can take advantage of the Copilot capability pull into Symphony AI's platform to really drive that optimization in that perspective. I think
Correct.
that's a very, very good use case, guys. Guys, if you have questions, please post them in the
Yeah.
Q&A. We
Any
will take them
questions
as
we
we go
have,
along.
we'll take a pause here.
Yep. I think so far there is no questions in the Q&A just yet. I think we're good to move on. But if there is, guys, please do pop them up so that we can actually make it more relevant and explain to you how is this going to tie back to the actual thing. Right. I think Mahu, we can move on to the next one. We've just done the use case number 2. Let's move on to the third one. I think the executive reporting. That's also quite a interesting, or should I say, features that we
Yeah,
have,
just give
right?
me a minute. Yeah, just give me a minute. I'll have to log in into the demo instance
No
for
problem.
that. Just give me
I'll,
1 minute.
I'll, I'll let you get ready.
Yeah.
So just to set a little bit of context, as we know, right, a lot of the bosses who looks at IT operations or IT service management, right, they always ask, when can I have the report? Could you show me what has happened? Now, a lot of time, please do not forget, reporting are also important for the governance team, especially for internal audits. They want to appreciate what has happened, what has actually transpired in the previous month for them to understand, the details and whatnot. So a lot of time when we talk about executive reporting, right, we really need to customize the report to the individual persona or the executive, bosses, or even the business, right, who wants to really understand what's going on. So later on, we're going to get Mahu to actually demonstrate with the capability of Symphony AI for myself, coupled with the so-called co-pilot capabilities, how that can be easily designed, how that can be easily so-called run as an automation to actually being provided to the executives individually. We can even customize them in that sense. So it's not like the old days, right? Actually, what we're doing nowadays is actually we have one report we send to 10 key people or stakeholders. In this case, we can actually customize them for the individual matrix that they are interested in. I think that will be something that will be very different as compared to some of the tools that are out there in that sense. Right. Is there any other questions that we can take while we wait for Mahu to get ready to actually log into the system and actually showcase that? I think we are almost there. Mahu?
Yes. So,
all right, I'll hand it back over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, John.
All right.
So here, so I hope my browser screen is visible again. And here, what we have done is that with the same digital agent Copilot, we are asking now, do you see like these are the use cases from the executives standpoint, what we were talking about. So if in case I ask that, do you see any trend based on the last week incident? So it's going to give me the trend analysis insights. So these are the things. Most active categories are these. Work group handlings, the incident, which are primarily involved mostly are these work groups. What are the statuses of incidents and other frequencies and related stuff, right? So those are the things which I can, ask over here. Now, similarly, if I'll just take another example that just calculate the average daily usage of incidents, right? That could be a simple calculation. Now that is another thing. So I have to predict something for the future readiness, and that's where I want to understand the visibility of usage based on the past data that I have. Now this can be any data. It can be, you can put any average, any calculations you have, you want Copilot to do, you want any other data insights based on the data you have in your system. You want that to be analyzed in a better manner. This is where you can use these use cases. Now here, so based on that, it does all the calculation and it's going to give me that it is one incident per day. Now this is a demo environment, so it is a calculation like that. But in a production environment, there could be a different view on this, and it's going to give you that what you can expect based on this trend or this historical data, what we can expect in the next week, right, or the next month. So that's where it's going to give the informed decisions, what we were referring to during the slides. If you recall, we were talking about taking informed decisions by executives, right? So this is where we talk about the proactiveness, where the users, the executives, they are asking things for being better at future readiness based on the data we have in hand today, right? Now let me take another example. I'm going to ask. So this was a predictive AI use case, what we saw. Let me take another example for another details I want to analyze. Like, so I'm just asking based on the last 1 week incidents, do you see any anomaly? And it's going to do the calculations, look at all the data that we have for the past week and give me some information over here. Right, and here we got all the review insights that after reviewing the entire incident data for last 1 week, these are the irregularities that has been analyzed. Now, this is something I don't want to read through, so I'll just ask the digital agent to just show me in the chart format. So this is where it's going to use the same data that it generated in the previous response in the text form. It's going to use that data and give me the report in a graphical manner. So when I say just give me it in the chart format, it generated the report in a chart format and gave it back to me. This is what we were talking about, that how easy it makes the lives for the respective users and different user personas, and also give a better insight, leveraging the data that you have today to be better at future readiness. Now, there could be some other use cases like, setting up some meetings over the Teams. It's going to look for all the slots available based on the calendar of that particular person. So here I've just taken an example that just block 30 minutes with this user, right? And it's going to look at all that information and going to give me some informations here. Now, this can be done in different ways. Either it is going to give me some information like this, right? Or if I'll just rewrite that, it may sometimes give, because this is something Copilot nature. Sometimes it's difficult to give a control on this is the form of output we want, because it's not a scripted chatbot, right? It's a Gen AI based. So based on the responses, it may differ each time because of the nature of that technology, right? It's so dynamic in that way. So to show that, for example, I gave this request to set up a meeting. It first gave me some information like this, right? Then I asked again, and now it has already saying that I have successfully set up a meeting for tomorrow. And these are the details, right? So this is how it's going to give some slots sometimes. It's going to help you to set up the meeting. So automatically the calendar invitations will be out from this conversation here and will be reflecting in my Teams in meeting. There could be some other guardrails as well, some other use cases related to guardrails, because we don't want user to ask anything which is not related to the company or the organization or something, which is too generic. So we can do a controlling on that part. So it is giving only the authorized information to the respective user, which is related to your enterprise. Anything which goes outside enterprise, it may say no to that and not provide any information on that. Like we have seen in as a consumer in ChatGPT, that we still get some information, right? That is controlled over here with the help of Copilot at the enterprise grade.
Quick one, Maho, sorry to interrupt. There's a question in the Q&A. I think Wasim has asked a question regarding just now, I think when we did the export of the chat itself, right? So he's asking, could we actually email that or put it to a local drive by any chance? I think, yeah, that's chat there. Is that possible for us to do that?
Yeah, so
there is a feature, right?
So it's something which can be configured again in my demo setup. It is not currently set up, but I can enhance it further to probably decide it that I want to give a hyperlink over here, so I can download it from here directly in my local drive, whatever charts are getting prepared, or I have to share it. So I probably just send this over an email, right? So those are different types of trainings that we can refer to in terms of having that particular thing done.
Yeah, so I think that can be configured in that sense, right? So Wasim, I hope that answer your question, like Mahu explained. So it's actually very handy, especially like I said, when you deal with a service level management discussion with the business or even with the internal team, right? It's actually very, very powerful. There's a question here from Wasim again. I'm not sure if it's related to the platform, but it says here, I've observed the Copilot is not able to reply in sequential numbers like 1, 2, 3, but always display the response as number 1. Is it a glitch or is it built like that? Mahu, you have any feedback before I give my view on this?
Yeah, see, my view on this is that it is part of the configuration. You can decide, like ideally it should be a sequence there, but you can also decide you want it to be a bullet coming in bullets, or it should come in alphabetical sequence A, B, C, or it should be dot, 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 or it should be 1, 2, 3. So that's part of the training and the configurations, the way we do it.
Yeah, so I agree as well. Mahu, actually is how we actually configure and train the Copilot within the platform itself, right? That you want the information to be displayed. So hope that answered the question, Wasim, that you have actually posted to us. Right, over back to you, Mahu, on the so-called demonstration here.
Yeah, so I think mostly I have covered on the on the parts of Apex, what we saw earlier. So I'll just going to cover a quick glimpse on the Apex platform here. So this is where, different service portals, what we were referring to during the overall capabilities slide. So we can design different type of, workflow service portals as per the requirement of the organization, give access to users, and this is completely designable now. You have the complete control on how you want to set the layout of this. You want 100% section for a particular section, or you want to split it into 80-20, 50-50, 70-30, or 90-10. It's again entirely configuration done at the front end level, which can be easily done by the respective system admins. You can decide the labels, the icons. This is entirely configuration. And this is a portal that you're getting out of the box. So you can put some announcements, some YouTube video of your corporate, some reports you want to include for the respective user who has logged in. Right. And plus it's multi-tenant environment. So not only just focusing on IT, but your non-IT divisions can also be onboarded on the same platform. Now, if I want my HR division to use the same, so for user, it's a single source of truth. And for the user, it's a single platform to reach out to different applications or different business units within the organization. So if we are talking about different group companies. So there's a group, you can have multiple group companies into that. And within that, each company, there will be different departments. So at 3 levels, we can configure the entire hierarchy of the organization in terms of domain, subdomain, and tenant, in which we will be doing the configuration of that group company, and then give the respective access to users so they see what they're authorized to see based on the company and the department they belong to. Right. And here we have all the design studios, which is the system admin view, wherein I can have designing on all the layouts I want, what I was talking about in terms of the service portals. So I can have multiple service portals configured there and decide how I want it to be looking like when I'm configuring it for the user. So let me just take one example here. So this is some generic information that I have used. Or if I go for my design portal, I'm going to look at the admin view of the portal that we saw in the previous screen. Now here you have options to configure all the properties. What is the background image I want? What color codings I want to use? What is the font that I want to use? Right? All those configurations can be done over here with the help of layout widgets, etc. If I go for a module-wise configuration, let me take some examples here. So again, you have form designer, table designer, workflow designer, what we were talking about in the capabilities presentation. And if I'll just take one example over here. So this is one example of a workflow. So you can design different workflows over here, how the different workflows are going to look like. You can, within that workflow, you can have multiple levels of approvals, multiple processes of notifications, some utilities to branch it out or set a value or create a new record at a particular stage, or any condition-based reroutings or tweaking in the flow you want to do based on some conditions, probably on pricing, for example. Like if the cost of that request is going beyond 50,000 ringgits, then level 3 will come into picture. If not, then level 2 can close it at their level, right? So those kind of conditions can be put, and we can design all these workflows over here. We can set the properties, and we can even decide what is the next course of action. Now, this is a process workflow that I have designed here as a sample in my system. I can validate this workflow once I'm doing some changes and some configurations. I can validate as well. So no, everything is connected well, and there's no open points anywhere or any configurations which I might have missed while designing this. So this is all part of the configuration, and this is all drag and drop. So you can drag and drop, you can add more approvals. You want one more approval, you drag it, and then you probably want to rejoin it. So you connect it like this. And this is how the workflows are going to work. right? This is from the system admin perspective on the workflows, how we can easily use the workflows and handle those configurations. Similarly, there is workflow for your automation as well, where it's again drag and drop, and you can decide that how many number of executions should happen, and if a particular level one automation script has been executed, and based on that, if something is failing or it is success, then what is the next point of action? What is the next automation script that should be executed against the output of this first step? So that way we can design a complete automation workflow as well, apart from the process workflows, which we are seeing here on the screen. So this is all a glimpse which I'm showcasing. There are a lot of other configurations, a lot of other processes which we can onboard, and it is a complete containerized application. So from the architecture perspective, it is container based, and different apps can be all onboarded as per the requirement. Within that, you can design your own processes, your own forms, how you want different things to be handled, whether related to IT or related to your non-IT or enterprise grade processes you want to include and onboard here, right? So I think that was a glimpse I wanted to give from my end in the session today. Any questions? And over to you, John, as well.
Hi, Mahu. Thanks for sharing that. I think that's very, very impressive, I think, for a platform. We've covered quite a lot of stuff in that sense. Anybody has any question at this point in time? You just quickly check on the Q&A. At the moment, seems to be all good. Right. So the workflow design, I just want to spend a moment to talk a little bit more on that. So before you actually embark on the workflow design, as Mahu has actually showcased, right? It's very intuitive. It's very simple. It's very direct. So the moment you actually map that out, you can actually execute and run it and automate all the workflow. But one of the things that we want to recommend for our participants before you get onto this kind of platform, actually automate it, right? Please relook at your IT policies and your SOP. Specifically, try and customize, or should I say design properly on your RASI table. Who is responsible for doing what, who is accountable, who should be consulted, who should be informed in that sense. Once you've actually mapped that out on your policies as well as the SOP, and you come to SymphonyAI platform to actually so-called design the workflow, you will start to realize that you can actually standardize some of the workflow, the practices, and to reap the benefit of the automation itself. It is that simple as what Mahu has actually showcased in that sense. By the way, right, is there any other question from the audience at this point in time? No? Okay. Now, I've actually mentioned in the chat itself, those of you who are interested to so-called request for what we call a trial version, do drop us an email at info@sybian.com, or you can email me and I will actually reach out to you and connect you with Mahu so that we can actually set it up for you to give it a trial if you are interested in the trial version. That's something that we are more than happy to assist you, or even come and have a quick discussion to understand what are your pressing needs or pain points, and how is SymphonyAI with this AI element, right, that is actually built in to be future-proof to help you to so-called take advantage of it. Because these are some of the things that we need to look at, because a lot of the tools out there are not really future-proof at this point in time. SymphonyAI is actually one of the very few tools that actually has this roadmap of future-proofing it in terms of the capability on all the investment that are actually put in. Right. Any other comments, Mahu, before we leave the audience for today? It's actually a very short presentation. I think we've really showcased what we can do with Copilot in that sense. Any other comments before we go?
Yeah, so my final comments will be, John, that today in the session, in the webinar, we have shown some generic use cases, the high-level capability of the platform and the Copilot in the enterprise environment. And there could be a lot of other things that people on the call on who have joined this webinar, maybe they're able to relate to something and there's something more that they want to discuss. So we will be happy to discuss more on case-to-case basis based on what specific use case or pain areas that they are facing today that they want to solve in their respective environment, and we'll be happy to do a face-to-face meeting. So we are all so for the people who are joined from Malaysia, so John and me, we both are based out here, so any face-to-face meeting is also needed. So we are here, we can be available at your office to do further detailed presentation and specific discussions for your requirements.
Sure. Right. If there's no other question, again, we thank you for your time for this morning to join us for this short webinar in that sense, because we want to showcase and actually the features that we have actually now made available in SymphonyAI's platform. This is something that we are very excited. We really want to bring it and showcase to the market that this is something that will really future-proof your investment in that sense. Right. With that, we thank you for everybody's time. Thank you, Mahu, for joining us for this beautiful morning.
Always a pleasure, John.
Yeah. All right. Have a great so-called day ahead, and especially a great weekend as well. We'll catch you all in our next session of the webinar. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.